to Nebraska, everybody. To check out this wildlife area, Powder Creek Wildlife Area. We had a good time here. This is a nice lake reservoir. Lots of activities go on here in the nature variety. We had stayed here maybe 3, 4, or 5 days, something like that. Here we be. Right here. Look at all those other spots I got around this area. Alrighty, we got the Powder Creek user area camping area. There's, I would say, 5, 6 campsites that are in good use, but there's a bunch more that hardly ever get used. There's this nice pier here. There's a couple more campsites. This is a fishing area. Really nice fishing area. I saw people fishing on this lake, so there's got to be fishing there. Here's the secondary pier across the way. Yeah, really nice area. Here we are, Powder Creek, open to fish, hunt, and trap. Okay, rolling on in from the road. Tucked back up in here, over a half mile for sure. Here's another little parking area, and then like a little creeky area. And then on the left here we have the access and the parking area for the boat launch. Here's another boat launch. There's like a high side and a low side. Okay. And then 1, 2, 3 campsites. Parking area. Out to the pier. Restroom. Another campsite. Another campsite. I believe that is 5. And you can see here, these are all overgrown, but more campsites. And then on the left, that's a hunting trail. There's one more. 6, 7, maybe 8. 7 for sure. Here was the first night we stayed here. It was very pretty. Oh, very pretty. I believe that was a fire. I do believe that was a fire right off in the distance. Across the pond there, fire. And then, but otherwise it was a very pretty sunset. We're going to go check out the pier, but get a good look at everything around here first. Yeah, that's definitely a fire off in the distance. Alright, we got a porta potty, his and hers out here. Look at that reservoir. Very pretty. That was very well hunted, and you can see the tree is pretty much the outlines here, I believe. Okay, now it goes off in the distance, all the way to the trees, all the way back there. This is all the land here. You can go hunting, fishing, yep, camping. Lots of stuff to do here. There's walking trails. You could walk the hunting trails. You got the piers on both sides. Check out the pier in Nebraska video, short. That was this day. But yeah, this was out in the pier. We're checking all this out here. What this campsite has to offer here. That's sunset. I like all these flooded trees and stuff. It was very pretty. I saw some people fishing here. I wonder what they were going after. Probably bass in here. And there's the gypsy wagon. That's sunset. The park. Here's the next morning. Bright and early, Chachi had me out there walking away. It got crispy. It got, pretty low, but me and Chachi, we gotta get out there and move every day. And then the hunters started to come. And These ones, they knew what they were doing. They pushed through pretty good and ran the dogs pretty, you know. These ones, they started off on the other side and worked their way all the way around this lake here. And man, I don't blame them. With after having an encounter with a bird here later on, you'll see. Um, I couldn't believe it that they were still that many in there. A lot of birds out here. Pheasants. Yeah, these guys started on the other side and they worked all the way. They worked with the wind. These guys were smart. Well, I mean, they cut with the wind. I don't know. Maybe that wasn't smart. I don't know. I don't hunt pheasant bird like this, but it was very cool seeing a dog perform. I like to see animals work. We went on a little cruise with the mule here. We went across the way to check out the piers. You know, I got a good glimpse of this here pier and the pier in Nebraska video short. Go check that out. Link in the description below. But then, because it was at sunset, it was much prettier than this one. You can see that flag just whipping in the wind there. She was a windy day here too. Cold, got bitter cold. The November gales were coming in hard. We're coming down here to the covered area, picnic area here. There was 3 picnic tables, pretty nice wire ones. I think people were abusing the fire pits. That's why there's no fire pits anywhere around here. And I'm kind of okay with that, being such a hunted area. You know, no need for a fire pit. Maybe 1 or 2. I think there was one on the other side. And then we're going to go check out the pier since we didn't see the pier in this video. You know, you gotta go check out the pier in Nebraska video short. But this is, we'll walk to the end of the pier here. I saw a beaver in these waters, and then I saw plenty of big birds too up in the sky. I saw 2 or 3 hawks or eagles, and then I saw the pheasant, and then I saw people fishing, so it must be fishing here. If I remember right, they were fishing the upper section, not all the way down here. And it was cold enough to make ice, so this pier was slippery. You can see it here, it glazed over here. And but I mean, just showing off what this area has to offer. I want to come back here. Maybe come spring I might roll through here again, see what it looks like when it perks up, when it's a little green out. Maybe get out here before the farmers are tossing up the land, the field around here, but I'm sure they will be getting in there bright and early spring. Very beautiful area. Really enjoyed the, you know, looks that Powder Creek Wildlife Area had to offer here. I'm sure a lot of money went into this. Did you see all those agencies involved? There's like 3 or 4. And makes me wonder, because I saw being sneaky with you now too. I saw a camera up there, and you know, the Freedom of Information Act. I'm curious. I'm just curious if I could get that footage of the gypsy wagon rolling through here. I think it'd be cool just to see. So, I mean, look at how pretty this place is. I'm sure out in the middle of nowhere too, you know. But we're headed back to we're gonna go across here. You see that over there? There's another pier over there, and then there is another picnic table area, another latrine, and a couple parking areas, I believe, over there. We're gonna go check them out here a little bit. And then we got the gypsy wagon and the latrines over here. We got two of them on this side. Three over, one more over at the access, too, his and hers. And then two picnic areas. Lots of hiking trails. Like easy access, you know. Can run the dogs easily through them. I think they even have it gridded out, the hiking trails, from what I could see from Google Maps. And I mean, probably a pretty nice hunting experience overall for you hunters out there. Alrighty, we're at Mule here. Look at that flapper flapping. You see it there? Oh my jeebus. Yeah, had a filter on the lens here. I think it was a 16 shade filter, if I can remember right. I gotta start using those filters more. They're pretty nice. Well, we're headed up. Here's a couple campsites on the right hand side here, and then on the right hand side is also the access coming in here right there. We'll get a glimpse of that again on the way back, I believe. And then, so here we rolling through the prairie land to see there was a hunter. Alrighty, we're rolling back up on 585 Avenue, headed north. Gonna check out the other picnic area here, just across Powder Creek, the actual creek here. And then we are staying up on the reservoir, but look at this climb. Very hilly country over on this side of the river. And they're big gainers too. Here we are rolling up into the other side of the Powder Creek wildlife area. Got a parking area over here on the left. And we drop down here. We got a loop. We got parking. And then another latrine. And another little picnic area. Let's go check it all out here. Hopping up off, grabbing a camera, being nice and stable about it. That was clean off the rip. And we'll head on down to this picnic area here. Nice little picnic area. Got three more picnic tables. I thought there was maybe just a place down here someone had a fire, which this is probably where I would go if I needed to have a fire. But I saw water access here. Then I noticed we had bad wind, you know, so bird nest flew down. Pretty cool to see though. Let's go check out this pier. Hoof it on over there. Here we are, this clay colored rock pier, all rock, all earth pier. And yet they just had some low lands that they flooded out to make a reservoir, and pretty interesting. engineering going on here. Here we be at the end of this other pier here. And there's the camping area across the way. All these flooded trees, pretty interesting to see. Curious how this would be fishing. There was a duck there, did you see him? Kinda scared me a little bit if I'm being honest. Yeah, well let's head on back to the gypsy wagon. So cold, my batteries on my gimbal and on my GoPro started to die. I want to say even the one I had, the generic one I had in my pocket even was started half dead when I put it in. So let's get on back to the gypsy wagon and crank the heat up on high. Get toasty up in there. Yeah, I just left her purring. She was just sipping that gas there. She's good, the mule. Get you guys situated. I was all bundled up from the get-go. It was cold out. I'm not even joking. Had to be colder than 30 out. Me a northern boy, you know how I like it. Let's head on back to the gypsy wagon. Head south on 585 Avenue. We'll be turning left up here after this parking area. My gimbal does not like the cold. Well, this is the countryside here, just all farmland off on the right hand side. On the left hand side we got the wildlife area. There's the Powder Creek, actual creek. Here's the wildlife area. I want to say the hunters pushed all this, but you can see all the flooded trees, very pretty, all the way across there. And we're headed back to camp. The access on the left there is pretty steep, but that's the higher side, and then here's the lower side access. And oh boy, was this a spook right there. Got me good, that pheasant. And here we are passing the his and hers to the campsite here. And man, was it windy later that day. Look at all the whitecaps out there on the water and just blowing this shrubbery around, all this greenery, all this long grass all over the place. And wouldn't you know it, I didn't batten down my hatches good enough. There's whitecaps on the lake. It's so windy, dude. Look at these trees over here folding in half, it seems like. Oh boy. So windy. Okay. Oh! Oh my god, it's so cold. Oh my god, it's so cold. Here we tighten her up to stabilize, and the hatchets, you know, batten them down, you know. Ooh, so cold. She wanted nothing to do with that cold. Almost daily with the hunters. I want to say, well, how did we did find this spot here at Powder Creek Wildlife Area? First, I went on that good old freecampsites.net, and I found this here, you know, and Buckskin Hills Wildlife Management. So then I was like, oh, Nebraska has these wildlife management areas, and bam, I did found this one on their website. And then I was looking here, you know, oh yeah, Rules management. Yes, found the rules. Here we go. And bam, this was the rules. If you need to, pause and zoom to read, but I zoomed in here on a little bit. It says, hey, do what I do best. Camp for how long? 14 days. And there's all the other rules. And that was Outdoornebraska.gov, maps and rules. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hey, next time we get out into Missouri, and this was a lot of years ago, 2020, look at that. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. Get out in the woods and enjoy.
It's a beaver.
A pier in Nebraska. Thanks for watching, everybody. Get out in the woods and enjoy.